goodness, it got very quiet in here all of a sudden. Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the regular meeting of the Texarkana, Texas City Council. Today is Monday, July the 13th, 2026. We have a large gathering in the audience this evening, so I want to thank and welcome everyone joining us in the audience this evening, as well as those that may be joining us online. At this time, I'll call on our City Secretary, Ms. Jennifer Evans, to provide a roll call. Ms. Evans?
Mr. Metter?
Here.
Ms. Matlock?
Here.
Ms. Page?
Here.
Ms. Hart?
Here.
Mr. Thompson? Here. Mr. Davis?
Here.
We do have a full council this evening, and our invocation and pledge will be led by Council Member Cole Metter. If everyone would please stand, unless you already are standing.
Please bow with me. Heavenly Father, I'm going to first begin with thank you so much for this beautiful day. Thank you for the opportunity to serve. Lord, as we make decisions for our great city this evening, please let all the decisions in our council move us closer to your will. In the heavenly name I pray, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. You may be seated. I have a couple of recognitions to make this evening. Before I do that, I will remind everyone that our next regularly scheduled City Council meeting will be held on Monday, August the 10th, followed by our council meeting in the month of September. It will be held on Monday, September the 14th at 6 p.m. here in the council chambers. In reference to our Parks and Recreation events, we have a lot of summer activities that are continuing through the summer. On July the 18th and 25th, which those are Saturdays, the Texarkana Farmers Market will be open from 8 a.m. until 12 p.m., 12 noon, and that will be at 500 North State Line, just in the shadows of the downtown federal courthouse. On July the 16th, the 23rd, and the 30th, these are going to be on Thursdays, we will have popsicles in the park at 2 p.m., and this will be at the Spring Lake Park Splash Pad. On July the 17th, Fun in the Sun Kids Day, hosted by the Children and Family Institute, will be held from 12:30 p.m. until 5 p.m., and it will be held at the Southwest Center. On July the 25th, we have the BASC softball tournament at Grady T. Wallace Softball Complex. And then on August the 1st, we have the Texarkana Farmers Market Best Salsa in the Arklatex competition from 8 a.m. until 12 noon, once again downtown near the downtown federal courthouse. Additional parks and recreation information can be found on the city's website at texarkanatexas.gov. And then also there will be a very interesting presentation that will take place on Wednesday of this week at 11 a.m. at the Texarkana Convention Center, and this will be an event hosted by the Texarkana Chamber of Commerce, and it's entitled The State of Lithium. And so this will have an opportunity for those attending to learn more about lithium, which we have a large concentration of that substance in our particular area, especially in southern Arkansas. And so there will be a very informative panel there to provide information about lithium, a little bit about it, how it's processed and transported, and the uses of lithium. And so that will be a very interesting presentation. Once again, that will be on Wednesday at 11 a.m. If you need more information, you can certainly contact the Texarkana Chamber of Commerce. They'll be more than glad to assist you. We have a couple of presentations this evening. First of all, we'd like to recognize some baseball players. Did y'all know we had some baseball players in the audience this evening? And so, as you know, baseball is a sport that's very near and dear with me, with my years of umpiring high school and American Legion, as well as summer ball. And so this evening, we are very fortunate to have with us the Texarkana 14U All-Stars as part of the Dixie Boys Baseball Texas Tier 1 State Champions. The team will compete in the Dixie Baseball World Series July the 17th through the 22nd in Sterlington, Louisiana, and where all star teams from these following states will be present. There will be teams from North Carolina, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Florida, Tennessee, Virginia, Arkansas, Georgia, and North Carolina. and these teams will converge to have a face-off. Texarkana will head into the tournament with an impressive 10-0 record. They are undefeated, so I think that deserves a round of applause. So. And so their first game will be, they will be playing against the state of Mississippi at 11:30 a.m. on Saturday, July the 18th at the University of Louisiana Monroe Park. And so at this time, I would like to introduce the players from this team. And as I call your name, if you will just please come and stand in front of the dais, and then I will step down and we'll take a group photo. And if there are parents here this evening and you have a son here, you're welcome to take a photo as well. So as I call your name, if you'll please come to the front, and we'll just kind of make a line across the front of the dais. The first player I'd like to recognize is Brady Boykin. All right, Brady, what position do you play? Outfield. All right. Next is Whit Crouch. Whit, what is your position? Pitcher. All right. I like a good pitcher. That's good. All right. The next one is Axton Gross. And Axton, what position do you play? Outfield. You look like you're pretty quick. All right, so I bet you're a good outfielder. The next player is Sawyer Hickerson. Sawyer, what is your position? Outfield. Okay. Next is Knox Huddleston. Knox, what position do you play? Outfield. All right. Do we have any infielders on the team? I guess we'll get to those here shortly. All right, the next player is Jeffrey Ives. Jeffrey, what position do you play? Third base. Finally got us an infielder here. All right. And the next player is Crimson Lantrip. Did I pronounce your first name correctly? What is it? I really butchered that pretty good. And what position do you play? Catcher. You're a catcher. I really like a good catcher. So next is Oakley Odom. Oakley, what position do you play? Shortstop. All right. The next player is Brody Parks. Brody, what position do you play? You're a pitcher. Good. All right. The next player is Cooper Reardon. Cooper, what position? Second base. All right. The next player is Ledger Swan. Ledger, what position? First base. All right. And then a very common household name, Fisher Thompson. And Fisher, remind me your position. I knew, but I forgot. What's your position? Left field. Left field. All right, good. And then the next player is Diesel Young. And what is your position? Pitcher. Pitcher, okay. And then the head coach is Paul Crouch. Yeah, come on up. And then Coach Crouch, do you have other coaches with you? If so, if you'll have them come up and recognize them.
Jeremy Boykin and Jason Swan.
Okay. Did I miss a player? Okay, I'm sorry. Who did I miss? Aaron McCullough. Aaron, come on up. Okay, Aaron, what position?
I play center field.
Center field. Okay, well, good. All right. So, okay, I'm going to step down. I'm going to grab a microphone, Jennifer, in case the coaches or any of the players have anything that they would like to share with us this evening. You'll be welcome to do that. Coach, you have anything, where's Coach Crouch?
Right here.
Okay, you have anything you want to share, maybe a little bit about your season and what some of your expectations are as you move forward?
We've had a great season. Please. I'm really proud of these boys. They put in a lot of work, a lot of effort, a lot of sweat, a lot of mornings, a lot of nights. They're 10-0. They've won district, regionals, state. We're going on to the World Series. Many of these players just mentioned that they played singular positions, and that's largely not true. We have a multitude of utility players here that can be put in multiple positions. I think that has a lot to do with some of our success. Outside of that, Jeremy, Swan, Jason, no? Yeah, definitely.
Any players have anything you want to say anything? Fisher? Okay, all right.
I'd like to say thank you to the council for the new fields.
No, your mom and dad are proud of you, Fisher, so for your great play. So, anybody else? Any other players want to say anything? Okay, well, just on behalf of the city, we first of all wish you safe travels to your destination. Hope that you play well and hope that you bring back a championship. That would be exciting. And then the last thing is, I hope the umpiring is good. All right, so, anyway. Oh, yes, do you have, what do we have? Okay. I think we have a raffle, and so they've asked me to draw the winning ticket. Okay, I'm going to stick my hand in there. Okay. And you must announce the name on the ticket. Okay, the name on the ticket is Pamela Beck. I know Pamela Beck. So Pamela, congratulations. I'll give you this back as evidence. All right. So, all right. We'll take a couple quick photos, and then I know you probably have. You're welcome to stay for the council meeting or part of the council meeting. If you have other places you need to be, you're welcome to leave whenever you would like. But we do thank you for being here, to be recognized for all of your hard work and dedication. And like I said, I just hope that you all have a very successful World Series. Okay. All right. I also want to thank the mothers for washing those uniforms. All right, thank you guys. Appreciate it. Okay, at this time, we'll go ahead and move along with our meeting. I know that we have some that have left and we have others that are coming in, so feel free to come in and grab a seat. Also, earlier in our meeting, I did mention about the luncheon coming up on Wednesday, the State of Lithium, and Dr. Hickerson, our president of the Texarkana USA Chamber of Commerce, is here with us this evening. So if any of you have questions about that event, Dr. Hickerson will be more than happy to answer your questions about that. So once again, that'll be Wednesday at 11, okay? Now I have another round of recognition I would like to make this evening. As you all know, a few weeks ago, we had an air show that was held at the Texarkana Regional Airport. And it had been approximately 30 years since we'd had an air show here in Texarkana. And it was an absolute tremendous success. And I was actually trying to get to the opening ceremonies, and I was stuck in traffic on Arkansas Boulevard for about 25 minutes, and I was running a little bit late getting there. But it was certainly an outstanding event, and this is something that takes a tremendous amount of coordination and logistics to put on. And so I want to recognize some major players and anybody that was a part of this air show as far as from a volunteer capacity or you were in a working role there. I just want to tell you how much we certainly appreciate your participation. So I do have 5 people I would like to recognize, and as I call your name, if you're here this evening, if you will also please come forward and stand in front of the dais. The first one I'd like to recognize is Brandon Sanders, who was the air show director, Texarkana College. Brandon, thank you so much. Yeah, that's fine. Then next we have from the city of Texarkana, Texas, Mr. Matt Solomon, who was in charge of safety and logistics team lead. And Matt, that cowboy hat came in handy because it was pretty warm that afternoon. That's right. All right. And then also the events team lead was held by our City of Texarkana, Texas employee Jessica Cook. Jessica, if you'll please come forward. And the marketing team lead was Danny Hamblett. Is Hamblett here? She's not here? Okay, all right. Certainly want to recognize her. And then also the sustainment team leader was Tyler Poole. So Tyler, if you'll please come forward. And I'm going to step down for just a second. And Brendan, I would like for you, if you don't mind, and anyone else who's being recognized, if you have something you would like to share, feel free to do so.
Yeah, no, I think that the air show is just a experiment that we've conducted that basically shows what Texarkana is capable of. We went from having nothing to having 11,000 people show up. We brought in a tremendous amount of people from outside of the area, and were able to give back a substantial amount of money to 2 different nonprofits that do a lot of good in our community. And so that just kind of shows what we're capable of whenever we take an audacious vision and then just work relentlessly at it until we can to deliver. So, better than that. Yeah, there you go.
And so I heard a rumor, and hopefully this is not just a rumor, that maybe we'll be having another air show in maybe a couple of years.
We have a contract already in place for 2028.
Yeah. Well, I was watching some of those Daredevil pilots, and the first thing that came to my mind is, they got to pay attention when they're doing what they're doing, and I wonder how much their life insurance costs, but if they can even get it. So they won't be able to get it, so they're kind of on their own. So, but anyway, it was a great event. We saw so many families there, and we saw the paratroopers, the Golden Wings, I believe that's what they're called. Golden Eye, yeah. We got to watch them. A lot of great activity. We had 4-wheel vehicles and 2-wheel vehicles that were racing up and down the runway, and a lot of children were there, a lot of good vendors there. And I want to thank my employer, Red River Credit Union, RRC, as being the title sponsor for the event. So I appreciate Brad Bailey, our president, and our credit union staff for being the lead sponsor in the event. It was very worthwhile, and they certainly enjoyed it as well. So once again, thank you all very much for your great time, effort, and concentration, and we look forward to the next one. So thank you very much. Okay, all right, very good. Okay, at this time, we move along to our open forum comments from the public. If there's anyone in the audience who would like to address the council this evening, you're welcome to do so. You will have up to 5 minutes to speak on any topic. We do also ask that you fill out one of these golden yellow sheets here, so that we'll have a written record of your being here this evening. And so the first person who would like to address the council is Brianna, and I'm not sure I can read the writing and pronunciation of the last name. Is Brianna here? Can you please state your last name? Gretline, okay. All right, Ms. Gretline, if you'll please come to the podium.
Mayor, we're working on a IT issue just real quick. The
Okay.
council chambers was having issues with the agenda, so.
Just one moment.
Let's just go ahead with this and then we'll keep working on it. If we can, let's go ahead with everything and we'll work on it later. Mayor, we're ready to continue.
Okay, all right, Ms. Gretline, if you'll please come forward, and if you'll please state your name for the record.
Brandon Gretline.
All right.
I didn't prepare a speech or anything, but I'm a resident of Texarkana. Thank you to Brandon Cowell for informing us about the flock cameras and the data usage that it is taking in on us. It is a camera surveillance system that tracks license plates and biometrics on your car, but it also is watching people. That has been confirmed by the actual company. And I think it is concerning as to who has access to that data, where that data is being stored, and it does lead to more data centers being built because that has to go somewhere. I think it is very intrusive to have constant surveillance, since we already have surveillance that is governed by an organized body that we can speak to. The flock system is a company and not used through a governed system. So I feel like it's very unchecked and unsafe. I know it's used to help other people, and especially the police, to find people through criminal actions and things like that. But I don't think that the amount of surveillance is necessary to the freedom of others and all of Americans. So that's all my piece.
Next is Brandon Cowan, who would like to address the council in reference to flock cameras. Mr. Cowan, if you'll please state your name for the record.
My name is Brandon Cowan. Good evening, Mayor, Council, City staff, and citizens. I am the owner of Liberty Ledger Media and DFlock Texarkana, which is now over 2,300 members. Just over a month ago, on June 10th, I filed a public records request with the city seeking documents on the flock safety camera contract, the original agreement, the purchasing records, the department's use policy, and communications around its adoption. The city produced those records over the following weeks. Last week, I published a full investigative report sourced entirely to what the city produced, and I published every underlying document along with it so that residents could read the primary sources themselves and draw their own conclusions. Before I published, I gave the city the opportunity to respond. I sent emails to the council, the mayor, and city officials and other police officers. City Manager Orr and City Council Member Davis both responded, and their responses are both printed in full alongside my findings, unedited. I reported what any reasonable person would infer from the records that were produced. If the city disagrees with the findings, I encourage you to provide full transparency of the complete record. I'm not here to relitigate any of that tonight. I'm here to tell you what's happened since, because the ground under this system has moved twice in the last few weeks. First, the Supreme Court's decision in their Chatry ruling didn't just affect geofence warrants. It knocked out the entire legal precedent a Virginia court used to uphold a flock camera network almost exactly like this one. The case is now on appeal, with the ACLU, the Institute for Justice, and the Cato Institute all arguing that a citywide camera network, searchable for weeks or months later, is exactly the kind of warrantless tracking that the Fourth Amendment was written to prevent. Now, while no court has struck these systems down yet, the legal foundation cities have relied on to defend them is gone. Second, while that plays out in the courts, more than 80 cities in 28 states have already terminated their flock contracts, not over politics, but because the vendor lied to them. Mountain View, California found 250 outside agencies had run 600,000 unauthorized searches the city never approved. Evanston, Illinois terminated its contract, then caught Flock secretly reinstalling cameras it had already ordered removed. Austin, Texas canceled last year over the exact same data sharing risk documented in my report. This council does not need to wait for the Fourth Circuit to decide this for you. 80 cities didn't. My ask tonight is direct. Terminate the Flock safety contract and remove the cameras. At the very least, have a public conversation about it. A standalone agenda item, not a consent vote, where this council actually discusses it out loud on the record in front of the people it affects. Not because this system has never helped solve a case. I do not dispute that it has. But because the cost is permanent, searchable record of every driver in this city, built on a legal foundation that just collapsed, run by a vendor that other cities have caught lying to them. The full report, every source document, and the city's response in full are available at libertyledgermedia.com. I welcome any factual response or recitation of existing policy the council is permitted to offer tonight under the Open Meetings Act, and I'd welcome a commitment from any member to place this on a future agenda. Thank you.
Next is John Savage. Would like to speak on the same topic. Mr. Savage, if you please state your name for the record.
Hi, I'm John Savage.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, members of the council, mayor, and fellow residents. We're standing at a critical crossroad regarding how we protect our communities. Too often, technology is sold to local governments as a magic bullet to solve crime. Automated license plate readers and flock safety cameras are marketed as benign, hands-off tools. But when you look beneath the marketing, a much darker reality emerges. Today, I urge this council to look past their previous notions and examine the severe fiscal liabilities, systemic abuse, catastrophic security failures, and legal risks this technology brings to our city. We're told that strict internal guardrails protect this data. That is flatly untrue. Nationwide, an independent investigation by the Institute of Justice found that a total of 21 police officers have been caught misusing flock cameras. They turned these massive surveillance networks into personal stalking tools to spy on romantic interests and private citizens. Systemic audits in Georgia led to the massive firing and criminal arrest of over 10 law officers. In Florida, an officer was caught tracking his ex-girlfriend's car 69 separate times. These cameras are already installed in our city, which means our residents are currently exposed to these exact vulnerabilities. The council must ask, is our city prepared for the massive civil liability lawsuit if an officer abuses the power here? Because these systems are already active, there needs to be a thorough audit system in place immediately to catch this behavior before it destroys lives. But the danger doesn't goes far beyond rogue users. Independent technology researchers like Ben Jordan have exposed that Flock's infrastructure is a cybersecurity nightmare. Over 60 vulnerabilities were disclosed to Flock after discovery. Flock denied their existence, then labeled him a lawless activist, a terrorist who was attacking police. Researchers proved that anyone with physical access to a Flock camera can press a button on the back, trigger an unsecure wireless hotspot, and gain root access to the device. Unprotected USB ports were used to execute custom code in seconds that permanently provided access to the cameras. Even worse, they discovered dozens of active police cameras broadcasting directly on the open internet without passwords. Anyone with a web browser could watch live operations across 30 days of archive footage with a built-in option to permanently delete it. And the FCTC has even started a federal investigation into Flock cameras as a national security risk. This creates massive judicial crisis in our city. If a hacker can intercept a video stream or alter, delete local files over the internet, the legal integrity of this data is completely destroyed. Defense attorneys could easily dismantle this evidence in court, meaning these systems won't even help secure reliable convictions. But why are they so vulnerable? Because research provided that these cameras were obsolete, running hardware and software that were outdated. To make matters worse, law enforcement login credentials for these systems have been actively bought and sold on the dark web. Foreign adversaries and dangerous stalkers can log into databases with the same exact ease as a police chief. When you combine wide open security flaws, dark web access, and the psychological impact of mass surveillance on our citizens, you get a system that doesn't protect the public, it endangers it. Free expression dies when a corporate AI profile maps our residents' existence without their consent. More than 80 cities have already removed Flock cameras and walked away from their surveillance contracts. And I urge that the City Council suspend our current contract, halt the use of these cameras, and let's invest in hard-earned tax dollars in transparent, secure community policing rather than exposing our city to the immense legal, fiscal, and security risks that this broken surveillance apparatus gives. Thank you for your time.
These are all the sheets I had filled out. Is there anyone else who wants to address the council? Yeah. Hi, ma'am, may I have your sheet, please?
For sure.
We have Liz Douglas, who would like to address the council on the topic of data centers. Ms. Douglas?
I just wanted to bring your attention to the latest petition on NoBowieCountyDataCenters.com. I know that there's a growing number of people that oppose these data centers, and there are other city councils that are doing things like enacting a moratorium. So I just wanted to bring your attention to it. There's a totally reasonable list of demands here, but that the saying it's out of our hands is like really not an option, and that y'all need to be doing everything you can, because I'm sure out of the growing number of people that oppose these data centers, we can find some other people to run for city council. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Douglas. Mr. Lewis? I know, I just, thank you. Be on standby, Mr. Lewis. Okay, we have Colton Langford, who would like to address the council on the Flock system. All right, Mr. Langford, if you would please state your name for the record.
Colton Langford. All right, I'm not a public speaker, so feel free to heckle me. Good evening, council members and mayor. My name is Colton Langford. I'm an attorney here in town. Some of you may know of me. Like everyone else in this town, I want our community to be safe. I support our local police, and I support giving them the tools they need to solve crimes. But there's a difference between investigating people who are suspected of committing crimes and creating a surveillance state contrary to the ideals of the Constitution and our founding fathers. Every generation must decide how much power it is willing to hand over to its government. Rarely is that power taken all at once. It's a power creep. One generation gives an inch or two, and the next generation gives another, and then another, and then another. Eventually, those inches add up to a mile. The justifications for each inch given are always convenience, good intentions, and a naive assumption that it will never be abused. But as the saying goes, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. What's more, as technology exponentially advances, so too does the government's means to control and surveil the populace. Flock and systems like it are not mere cameras. It doesn't simply record what happens at an intersection. Each camera systemically logs license plates of all passersby, cataloging where they were and when. All the camera logs are then uploaded into a centralized national database that any law enforcement officer with access to the system anywhere in the country can access at any time for any reason with no oversight. With enough camera With enough camera coverage, an officer can reconstruct the entire daily movements and routine of a citizen with little more than the click of a button. It becomes similar in effect to GPS surveillance, but without a warrant, when one of those would ordinarily be required. Speaking of warrants, when drafting the Fourth Amendment, our founding fathers were concerned with protecting the privacy of the citizenry from government overreach, particularly because British officials often raided entire towns, homes, with a single warrant. As such, they designed the Fourth Amendment to require probable cause of criminal activity particularized to the person against whom the warrant is sought, before that citizen's and only that citizen's privacy may be invaded. In essence, the Fourth Amendment requires the government to have a good reason before invading a citizen's privacy. The Fourth Amendment's primary protection lies with items in which a person has a reasonable expectation of privacy. What is reasonable depends on the values of our society as a whole and what society as a whole considers intimate. As affirmed by the U.S. Supreme Court as recently as this year, though a person does not have a reasonable expectation of privacy in a single one of their public movements, a person does have a reasonable expectation of privacy in the whole of their public movements. Now, proponents of this technology often state that you have no reasonable expectation of privacy in public, but that's demonstrably incorrect per the United States Supreme Court. Think about it this way, council members. Would it be reasonable to expect privacy when your neighbor is looking at you from his porch when you're driving by his house? Most people would say no. However, imagine instead that your neighbor followed you every time you left your house. He wrote down where you went, what time you arrived, and what time you left every day for years. Most would find this behavior deeply unsettling, and most would consider it stalking. With enough camera coverage, this is exactly what Flock allows the government to do, except on a scale no individual ever could. And we're told it's less concerning simply because the government is the one doing it. I would suggest the opposite is true. Government surveillance is more concerning precisely because the government has the resources to do it on a large scale. Every surveillance system begins with the best of intentions, and I don't doubt the good intentions of this council. But you need only look to the People's Republic of China and the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, i.e. North Korea, to see where these systems lead. Benjamin Franklin famously warned that those who trade essential liberty, I'm running out of time, dang. Whether you agree, Benjamin Franklin famously warned that those who trade essential liberty for temporary safety deserve neither. Whether you agree with every word of that quote, its central lesson has endured for nearly 250 years. Once liberty is surrendered, it is rarely reclaimed without great difficulty. This council has the authority to decide whether our city will take another step toward routine government surveillance or whether it will affirm that the privacy of law-abiding citizens still matter. I respectfully urge you all to cancel the contract with Flock, or at the very least, let the contract expire without renewal. Thank you for your time.
These are all the sheets I had filled out this evening. Does anyone else want to address the council? Okay, at this time, move along with our agenda. Do we have any appointments to boards, commissions, and committees this evening by the council? I do. Mr. Thompson?
I have an appointment to the Building and Standards. Lee Kernick. She's a new appointee.
Okay. Building standards, okay. Any others by the council?
I have one
Mr.
as
Metter?
well. Also building and standards, Garris Walker, and a new appointment as well.
New appointment, okay. Are there any others this evening to be made? Okay, we do have two that have been put in nomination for the building and standards. Is there a motion for approval?
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Page and a second by Councilmember Davis. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Those appointments have been approved, and we want to thank these citizens for their service. At this time, move along to our consent agenda. We do have several items on the consent agenda this evening. Item 1 is to consider approval of the minutes of the Joint Budget Advisory Committee workshop of the City Council held on May 27th, 2026. Item 2 is to consider approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of the City Council held on June 8th, 2026. Item 3 is resolution number 2026-106, approving the Texarkana Regional Airport interim executive director to execute an FAA grant application for the ARFF vehicle procurement and additional equipment in an amount not to exceed $1,102,673 to be paid from the FAA grant and the Arkansas Division of Aeronautics. Item number 4 is resolution number 2026-105, approving the Texarkana Regional Airport interim executive director to accept and approve the bid from Rosenbauer, Minnesota LLC for the ARFF vehicle procurement and additional equipment in an amount not to exceed $1,102,673 to be paid from an FAA grant and the Arkansas Division of Aeronautics. Item number 5, resolution number 2026-108, approving the Texarkana Regional Airport interim executive director to execute an FAA grant application for the construction of the vehicle service road in an amount not to exceed $1,625,958 to be paid from an FAA grant and the Arkansas Division of Aeronautics. Item number 6, resolution number 2026-107, approving the Texarkana Regional Airport interim executive director to accept and approve the bid from Tatum Excavating Company Incorporated of Texarkana, Texas for the construction of a vehicle service road in an amount not to exceed $1,601,163 to be paid from an FAA grant and the Arkansas Division of Aeronautics. Item number 7, resolution number 2026-109, approving the Texarkana Regional Airport interim executive director to execute a work order 2500666-2 with Garver LLC for the construction of the vehicle service road in an amount not to exceed $254,500 to be paid from an FAA grant and the Arkansas Division of Aeronautics. Item number 8, order number 2026-111, calling the city's November 3rd, 2026 general election for the purpose of electing a council member for Ward 3 and a council member for Ward 5. Item number 9, resolution number 2026-113, accepting bids and authorizing the city manager to execute contracts for the purchase of chemicals for water and wastewater treatment. Budgeted funds are available in the Utilities 2026-2027 Operating Fund. Resolution number 2026-133, authorizing the city manager to execute a one-year contract totaling $32,910 with 4 additional one-year renewal options with Stripling Technology LP for the city's street striping contract, budgeted from the Sign and Signal General Fund and the Major Road Maintenance Fund. Item number 11, resolution number 2026-134, approving the Texarkana Regional Airport selection of Alltech Incorporated as the construction manager at risk, CMAR, for the MRO project and approving the interim director to execute an agreement with Alltech Incorporated for CMAR services. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as it's been stated, unless a council member would like to pull one or more items for further consideration. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Motion by Councilmember Metter, second by Councilmember Hart. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The consent agenda has been approved. We now have 6 items pertaining to the action items portion of our agenda. Item 1 is resolution number 2026-052, authorizing the approval of the Water Conservation and Drought Contingency Plan. And we have Mr. Gary Smith with TWU to provide additional information on this item before taking action. Good evening, Gary.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Council. Give me 1 second.
Okay, that's fine.
I apologize, I forgot to send this over to get on the computer. Thank you, Garrett. Yes, the TCEQ, Texas Commission on Environmental Quality, requires each city every 5 years to review and update your water conservation plan and drought contingency plan. And we have contracted with Plummer and Associates, and I have 2 representatives from their firm here tonight that can make this presentation. And afterwards, we'll be glad to answer any questions that you may have. With us is Bridget Buff and Shu and Zhang with Plummer and Associates, and I'm going to turn it over to them.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. Good evening, ladies. We're glad to have you with us this evening.
Good evening. Thank you all for having us. As Gary said, my name is Bridget Buff. I'm the water planning team leader for Plummer Associates. And we have, in the past years, we've done your water master plan and on-call modeling and are currently working through your wastewater master planning. So first, I just wanted to say thank you all for y'all's support and trust in our firm to continue to do the water and wastewater planning for you. For this particular project, we have done the water conservation plan and drought contingency plan, and this was presented to the Arkansas Council last week with approval. So we just wanted to get approval from you guys from the Texas side to make sure we've covered all of our bases. So with that, I'm going to hand over the presentation for the technical portion to Tuan Zhang, who led the efforts for this update. Tuan?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here. This might be one of the most exciting meetings that I've been to, so thank you for having me. Before I continue, I want to make sure I know how to use the equipment here. Okay, now I know how to get to the next slide. I can get started. So, yeah, as Gary mentioned, we are here to talk about the water conservation plan and drought contingency plan for the city of Texarkana. First, we will talk about how those plans work together, what are some of the goals, and how are we going to achieve those goals, and secondly, how those plans affect us as a citizen here. And then we'll open up the floor for any questions that you guys may have. So first, why do we do water planning? So it's kind of like you plan for your future, your finance, as a water system, Texarkana Water Utilities also want to plan for their own future. The goal is to make sure that we have reliable water service for the future. So Texarkana Water Utilities serve about 70,000 customers within the city of Texarkana, Texas, and Arkansas. And then they also serve about 50,000 wholesale customers nearby. And then we rely on 2 reservoirs, the White Padman Reservoir and the Millwood Reservoir. And we have 2 water treatment plants. They have a combined capacity of 33 NGD. So with those in mind, and how are we going to make sure we have reliable supply? So why are we updating those plans? So first, as Gary mentioned, it is a state requirement. TCEQ require us to review those every 5 years to identify any new changes to your system, maybe growth, maybe changes in your demand pattern or your growth, maybe new developments. And then with those information in hand, we can update those appropriately. And then those plans will help us to prepare for drought conditions and emergency conditions, and then support future growth. Without planning, we will likely have risks of during emergency, what to do during an emergency. Okay, so now let me slow down or I talk too fast. Okay, so what is a water conservation plan? So water conservation plan is a long-term water management strategy. It is just a fancy word to say how are we gonna make sure that we use water wisely in the future so that we can make every water drop counts. And then our future generations who will also rely on those 2 reservoirs we have, will continue to be able to use those 2 reservoirs. And then for future generations and then booming in populations. So the way that we do that is by reducing water waste, how to improve water use efficiently, kind of like many years ago, your toilet may be still using a 3 gallon per flush, but now it's 1.28. And then also reduce water loss within your system. And then through those measures, we can extend the life of the existing supplies. So it focuses on our daily operations, customer education, make sure that we are aware of the water efficiency measures in the city, and then also like make sure we are reducing water leaks, and then promote the efficient of water use. On the other hand, drought contingency focus on a short-term emergency situation. That could be a drought-induced emergency. It could also be like operation, water main failure, supply contamination, things like that. So it is a response to short-term water shortage. So let's say if my reservoir drop, the water level drop, like how, with the fewer water available in the reservoir, what are we going to do for those? So the drought contingency plan focus on those emergency situations, and then what the Texarkana water utilities will do about those situations. Okay, so those are the two plans, focus on different things, but it have one shared common goal. The goal is to provide a reliable water for the community. So now let's dive into the water conservation plan goals. So we have established a per capita water demand goal so that we can track our progress. I want to draw your attention to the scatter plot on the right. As you can see that over the past almost 10 years, the per capita demand for Texarkana water utilities has dropped about 25%. That means that like each person on average save about 25% more water in a daily usage. So that's actually a really great accomplishment. So I want to applaud everyone here for that. And then we recognizing those greater achievement that we already see. We already observed in the past decade, so we are now we are projecting a less reduction because as you can see, there's a finite water you need to use to maintain your daily life. So we don't want to set an aggressive goal for you guys. So yeah, how are we going to achieve those goals? We focus on three things. First, we have our infrastructure. We want to make sure that our metering is accurate. We have our customer programs. We want to make sure that we can provide the customer the resources that you guys need to understand better about what water conservation means, and then what kind of water efficient fixtures are out there in the market. And also, we want to focus our attention on the commercial and industrial users. Commercial and industrial users take out about 50% of your daily demand. So we don't want those low-hanging fruit to be we want to take advantage of those low-hanging fruit and make sure that we let them be water efficient before we dive onto the residential sectors. With those, I want to move toward the drought contingency plan. So drought contingency plans, as I kind of mentioned, there's many triggers that can trigger an emergency events. So first, we talk about the reservoir level. And then we also have two major mains that connect Texarkana water utilities to the cities. So if any of those mains were to break or any issue, there's also an issue. And then we have two water treatment plants. So we want to make sure that those treatment plants are functioning. If not, then we have an emergency. And then supply source contamination, we rely on two reservoirs. So if any of those are contaminated, then we only have one source left. So those are kind of what we call drought contingency triggers. So if any of those were to occur, then we have a emergency. So depending on how many triggers we have during that time, then we will move to higher stages. So one trigger, that's stage 1. 2 triggers, stage 2, 3 triggers, stage 3, and if Texarkana are not able to produce any treated water, that's stage 4. So as we move on to higher stages, we would like the citizens to move from a voluntary water conservation to more restricted usage, such as limited irrigation, significant reduction in non-essential use. So the goal is not to limit. The goal is not to not allow you to irrigate in higher stages. The goal is to, like, by being in stage 1 or being in stage 2 early, and then we reduce the demand early so that we can, and we don't have to go to a higher stages. So that's why we have like different stages. We want to make sure that we can avoid moving to higher stages by reducing the obvious demand that we can conserve. So how those plans are going to affect us? So as I mentioned, and those plans are essential for us to provide a reliable water service to the community. And then together with those plans, it provides a guidebook for the public to learn more about your water supplies. And then together we will have like a stronger community, a sense of like togetherness. And then we will also have a more resilient utility by having those plans and then plan ahead. So the staff recommendation is that we recommend to adopt the 2026 Water Conservation Plan and Drought Contingency Plan. Those goals meet the requirements. It promotes efficient water use, improve drought preparedness, and then protect the long-term water reliability. And then together, it will support the future of Texarkana for their growth to come. Thank you. Any questions?
Any questions for these ladies this evening? I think a drought contingency plan is important. I don't think we've had that on our minds the last couple of months here in Texarkana with the record rainfall that we received for the month of June. But I think it's important that we do have a contingency plan in the event that we had a drought like we had back in 2011. I think was the most notable one. So, but ladies, thank you very much for being here this evening and providing the information. Gary, thank you very much. Anything else you need to add, Gary?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. Okay, thank you all very much. All right, very good. Unless there are any further discussion or questions, I'll entertain a motion for approval of the resolution. Is there a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion by Councilmember Davis. Is there a second? Second by Councilmember, I think Mr. Thompson got in there just barely, so Councilmember Thompson made the second. This is a resolution, so it does not involve a caption. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The resolution passes. Item number 2 is resolution number 2026-104, approving a sponsorship agreement with Ritter Communications for naming rights associated with the concessions building and courtyard area at the Swanger Complex as Wright Fiber Fan Zone. And council, we have already been briefed on this item previously. Are there any questions that anybody has on this item? Okay, if not, I'll entertain a motion for approval of the resolution. Is there a motion on the floor?
So moved.
We have a motion by Councilmember Davis. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Metter. Once again, this item pertains to a resolution, so there's not a caption. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The resolution passes unanimously. Item number 3 is resolution number 2026-112, approving 2 memoranda of agreements with Red River Army Depot for fire protection and emergency management services. And we have our Fire Chief, Chris Black, to provide information to us in reference to this item. Good evening, Chief.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. As I said, this memorandum of agreement is for updating our emergency services, emergency management, and fire services. No change in the agreement. It just really reflects anytime there's a leadership change at the depot, they like to have this change to reflect that leadership signature on that. We've had this going on for years and years, and actually our partnership with the depot goes beyond just emergency services. I don't know if you're aware, but they have a remarkable fire apparatus refurbishing program out there, and we actually carried a truck out there for some functional testing they've assisted us with. They've come to our city, to our training field for training evolutions, required training that they have, the government mandates they have. So working together, local, city, county, federal partnerships, we work great with all of our federal partners out there too. So a lot of people don't realize what all they do and how much we work together on everything. Just want to kind of give that little out there that we have a great partnership with the depot, and they've helped us and we've helped them. So if they have any questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
All right, very good. Thank you, Chief. Any questions for the Chief? Okay, thank you for your time. Thank you for your service. This time, is there a motion for approval of the resolution? Motion by Councilmember Matlock. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Thompson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Resolution passes. Item number 4 is ordinance number 2026-122, extending the fiscal and personnel management agreement with the Texarkana Urban Transportation Study, TUTS Policy Advisory Board through June 30th, 2027. And our city manager, Dr. David Orr, is going to provide some information pertaining to this ordinance. Good evening, Dr. Orr.
Good evening, Mayor, and good evening, Council. So the Texarkana Metropolitan Planning Organization is responsible for transportation planning activities throughout the Texarkana area study boundary. The fiscal agent agreement is between the city and MPO. It establishes the city as our fiscal agent for all MPO funds that are received. The current agreement between the MPO and the city is set to expire this year, December 30th of 2026. The action before you tonight is for your consideration to extend the agreement for an additional 6 months through June 30 of 2027. That'll allow continued operation for the MPO as we work on longer-term plans to potentially transfer the fiscal agent agreement to the Artex Council of Governments. The MPO Policy Board already voted to extend the agreement at their May meeting, and I'll be glad to answer any questions that you may have on this item.
Any questions for Dr. Orr on this item? Okay, thank you, David. Any other questions? If not, is there a motion for approval of the ordinance?
So moved.
Motion by Councilmember Davis. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Thompson. Ms. Evans, the caption, please.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Texarkana, Texas, approving the extension of the fiscal and personnel management agreement with the Texarkana Urban Transportation Study Policy Advisory Board through June 30, 2027, and establishing an effective date.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ordinance passes. Item number 5 is resolution number 2026-124, authorizing the city manager to file an application with the Texas Water Development Board Water Supply Infrastructure Grant Program in an amount not to exceed $21 million for the replacement of aging 2-inch galvanized water mains with new 6-inch and 8-inch water mains and reimbursement of cost incurred since June the 22nd, 2025 for the installation of the advanced metering infrastructure system. And Gary Smith is back to provide some information pertaining to this resolution. Welcome back, Mr. Smith.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. Excuse me, in correlation with the state water plan, the Texas Water Development Board created this water supply infrastructure grant program to address critical water supply, critical water loss, and aging infrastructure needs. The state set aside just a little over $1 billion to address these items. And for a system our size, they separate out by size, the population, serve, everything. The most that we can get, Texarkana, is $21 million grant, which is great. We've never done anything this big at the water utility since I've been there in the last 23 years. So we're really excited about this. There's 2 projects that are high priorities on our list. We're already way up on the list based on median household income and other things that the state looks at. But the 2 big priorities that they look at is AMI systems, which we're just about complete with ours, but they'll refund a certain time period up through June of 22nd, 25, and that comes to about $7.5 billion that we're requesting to get refunded back to us. And another high priority is replacing aging infrastructure. So that's what we're looking at doing is one, we're requesting reimbursement of $7.5 billion for the AMI system, and then we're requesting the remaining money to go towards our 2-inch galvanized mains. We have approximately 12.5 miles of 2-inch water lines that are galvanized pipe, and they leak. It's just a big priority for us. So, and we'll have plans ready. That's another thing we get is another 10 bonus points for having the construction plans ready, which they'll be complete next week. So our consultant really believes we really have a really, really good chance of if not getting the whole thing, but getting quite a bit of grant money. I'll be glad to answer any questions.
That's very exciting news.
Yes, sir.
Thank you,
We're
Gary.
real excited.
Any questions for Gary on this item? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. At this time, is there a motion for approval of the resolution? We have a motion by Councilmember Hart. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Davis. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The resolution passes. Item number 6 is resolution number 2026-123, authorizing the city manager to execute a contract with Holistic Utility Solutions of Grapevine, Texas, for the Texas Water Development Board Water Supply Infrastructure Grant Program application in an amount not to exceed $30,000 for Phase 1 and 2, and 2.5% of the awarded grant funds for Phase 3, with budgeted funds for Phase 1 and 2 in the fiscal year 2025-2026 TW Texas Capital Improvement Fund. If grant is not awarded, only the $30,000 cost portion will be paid. If grant is awarded, all costs will be covered by the grant funds. And Gary's going to provide some information to us on this one. Gary?
Yes, sir. We're requesting to be able to enter into a contract with Holistic Utility Solutions of Grapevine, Texas. They've done several things with the city and with the utility. They're very well versed with the Texas Water Board application process. And the $30,000 fee that they're asking for is for the Phase 1 and 2. That's getting all the paperwork. As you know, for any type of grant money, there's a lot of paperwork. There's a lot of data you got to get, and that's what Holistic Utility Solutions will be doing for us on this project. The application's actually due the end of this month, and we're already just about through with everything on our end that we got to get. And then once we get approval, then we can turn over Holistic if we get approval to finish the project. And the Phase 2 or Phase 3, where is the 2.5% of the grant funds. If we get any grant funds awarded, his fee for that will be the 2.5%, and it'll be for the grant administration, which again, there's a lot of work behind any type of grant money. I'll be glad to try to answer any questions that you may have.
Any questions for Gary on this item? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate the information.
Thank you.
If there are no further questions, I'll entertain a motion for approval of the resolution. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Councilmember Page. Is there a second? Second by Councilmember Thompson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Resolution passes. This concludes our action items portion of the agenda. We'll now move along to first briefings. We do have, I believe, a total of 8 first briefings this evening. Michelle Daniel from the city staff is going to be briefing the council on items 1 through 7, and there will be some here that I will combine. Under first briefings, item number 1, ordinance number 2026-096, granting a specific use permit to allow the additional use of a skating rink on an approximate 25.334 acre tract of land being tracts 10A5, 10A6, and 10B, block 10A3, Ely Moore Headright Survey, A-401, located at 2729 New Boston Road, number 90, in Ward 2. John O'Shaughnessy, owner. Quinn Jefferson, agent. Good evening, Michelle.
Good evening, Mayor, and good evening, Council. So this is a request for a specific use permit to allow the use of a skating rink at 2729 New Boston Road. The property is a multi-tenant facility. The future land use map has designated this property as neighborhood retail, and the adjacent zoning is general retail to the north, south, east, and west. The adjacent land use is general retail. Planning and zoning recommend approval of this request with the following stipulations. That all city codes and ordinances must be met. No trespassing and no loitering signs must be posted on the exterior of the business. An adult must sign for responsibility of every minor under the age of 18 in person. The hours of operation are from 1 p.m. to 10 p.m. on Tuesday through Saturday, and 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. on Sunday, and they will be closed on Monday. And a licensed security officer must be present when the business is open or occupied after 7 p.m. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer those.
Any questions for Michelle on this item? Okay. Items 2 and 3 are related, so I'm going to read both of those, and then Michelle will brief both of those items. Item number 2 is ordinance number 2026-125, rezoning on an approximate 2.83 acre tract of land being tract 97B, H.S. Janes Headright Survey, A-306, located in the 4200 block of Finley Street in Ward 2, from Single Family 2 to Single Family 3. Stephanie Tardy, owner. Item number 3 is ordinance number 2026-126, granting a specific use permit for the location of a HUD code manufactured home on an approximate 2.83 acre tract of land being tract 97B, H.S. Janes Headright Survey, A-306, located in the 4200 block of Finley Street in Ward 2. Stephanie Tardy, owner. Michelle?
So this is a request to rezone from single-family 2 to single-family 3 and for a specific use permit to allow the location of a HUD code manufactured home in the 4200 block of Finley Street. This property is currently vacant. The future land use map has designated this property as regional commercial. The adjacent zoning is single-family 2 to the north, west, and east, and planned development general retail to the south. The adjacent land use is vacant land to the north, west, and east, and south. Planning and zoning recommend approval of this request with the stipulations that one 2021 or newer HUD code manufactured home be allowed on the property, that the home be tied down, skirted, and underpinned, and that the home be used for dwelling purposes only, and all building codes and city ordinances must be met. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions for Michelle? Okay. Also, items 4 and 5 are related. And also, by the way, council, all these items that we're covering this evening under first briefings will be having public hearings at our next council meeting on August the 10th. Item number 4 is ordinance number 2026-127, rezoning on lots 8 through 10, Block 8, Red Cut Heights, located at 2506 Liggett Street in Ward 1, from Single Family 2 to Single Family 3, Shakia Williams, owner. Item number 5, ordinance number 2026-128, granting a specific use permit for the location of a HUD code manufactured home on lots 8 through 10, Block 8, Red Cut Heights, located at 2506 Liggett Street in Ward 1, Shakia Williams, owner. Michelle?
So as you said, this is a request for rezoning from single-family 2 to single-family 3 and for a specific use permit to allow the location of a HUD code manufactured home at 2506 Liggett Street. The property is currently vacant. The future land use map has designated this property as industrial. The adjacent zoning is single-family 3 to the north, single-family 2 to the west, east, and south. The adjacent land use is a mobile home to the north and vacant land to the east, and a residence to the west and the south. Planning and zoning recommend approval of this request with the stipulations that a 2021 or newer HUD code manufactured home be allowed on the property, that the home be tied down, skirted, and underpinned, and that the home be used for dwelling purposes only, and all other building codes and ordinances must be met. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions for Michelle? Okay. Item number 6 is ordinance number 2026-129, granting a specific use permit to allow one additional use of an electrical substation on an approximate 3-acre tract of land being tracts 63A and 63B, J.A. Talbot Headright Survey A-564, located in the 5700 block of Gin Road in Ward 5. Molly Crow, AEP Southwestern Electric Power Company owner. William Sellard, TTL USA agent. Michelle?
So this is a request for a specific use permit to allow the additional use of an electrical substation at the 5700 block of Gin Road. The property is currently vacant. The future land use map has designated this property as neighborhood retail. The adjacent zoning is single-family 1 to the north, east, and west, and an office to the south. The adjacent land use is vacant land to the east, residential to the west, and vacant land to the east and south. Planning and zoning recommend approval of this request with the following stipulations: that all building codes and ordinances are met, and that the substation be fenced from the public. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
So Michelle, is this an extension of the existing substation that's there? I noticed it, according to the aerial map, it was some distance from the existing substation that's there. I'm just wondering exactly what the purpose of the project is.
So this is going to take over the place of the existing one. So after this one is built, the existing one will be demolished.
Okay, so
And
this will be a new substation.
Right. The previous one, or the existing one, is at the end of its use, and so it needs to be replaced.
Okay.
So that's what this is.
Okay, thank you. Any questions by the council on this item? Okay, very good. Item number 7 is ordinance number 2026-130, amending PD-23-4 for site plan approval on an approximate 22.73 acre tract of land being tracts 11, 11A, 12, 12A, H.S. James Headright Survey A-306, located at 1047 Terry Street, Ward 2. Zachary Mowry, Resortment's representative, is the owner. Michelle?
So this is an amended request for site plan approval at 1047 Terry Street. The current zoning is planned development, multiple family 2. The future land use map has designated this property as industrial. The adjacent zoning is agriculture to the north and east, outside the city limits to the west, and industrial 1 to the south. The adjacent land use is a lumber yard to the north and church to the east, and outside the city limits to the west, and a vacant lot to the south. The site plan consists of the construction of 17 buildings total in Phase 1. The access driveway will be off Terry Street. Any access driveways from South Bishop must be submitted to TxDOT for approval. There will be 370 parking spaces and a screen dumpster site. The development also must comply with all applicable codes and ordinances. Planning and Zoning has recommended approval of this site plan with the stipulations, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Questions for Michelle on this item? Mr. Davis?
Is this the same company that is thinking about bringing their company here that actually will build these?
Yes, sir,
Okay.
it is.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Michelle.
Thank you.
All right. We do have one additional briefing item this evening, and it will be briefed by Daphne Ryan, city staff. It pertains to resolution number 2026-135, adopting the program year 2026 Community Development Block Grant Annual Action Plan and authorizing the city manager to submit said action plan to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. Good evening, Daphne.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for the opportunity to present our draft program year 2026 CDBG Annual Action Plan. This action plan outlines CDBG projects that will take place in our fiscal year 2027. The annual action plan requires 2 public meetings and a 30-day comment period to offer citizens an opportunity to participate in the input. The public comment period started July 9th and will end August 10th. Any public comments received are incorporated in the final annual action plan that is submitted to HUD. Request for public comment is advertised in the Texarkana Gazette by legal notice in Amigo News, on the city website and social media pages. The community can access an electronic version on our city website, and we have paper copies available at City Hall for anyone requesting that option. Public input is a vital to the process of finalizing the actual action plan. An online survey is also set up on SurveyMonkey, and citizens can also obtain a paper copy of that if they prefer to complete the survey by hand. We take those in our office anytime. Citizens can also submit their public comments by calling. We will take those down verbally as well. There was a call for applications to nonprofits and city departments in February. City staff, Megan Price, was on talk radio twice. We issued press release, utilized social media and the city website to advertise that to the area nonprofits. And we received a lot of applications, and although they were all great applications, we were not able to fully fund everyone. We were able to fund all the public services to some degree, but not what they actually had applied for, unfortunately. Funds are limited. The proposed budget that we came up with provides $10,000 for each of those public services, except for food distribution at the health department. We were only able to fund $2,000. If we receive more program income this year than anticipated, we'll be able to maybe elevate that a little bit. In total, $67,808 is budgeted for administration, $62,000 for the public services, and then $266,455 for general services, for a total of $396,263, which matches our estimated revenues for next year, with $1,100 estimated in rollover funds from this year, $382,663 in our program year 26 funding allocation, and an estimated $12,500 in program income, and that's derived from loan payments from some old housing projects. If we were to receive additional program income, like I mentioned, we can update the action plan at that time and increase the funding for several of these projects. So the public service activities, to give you an idea of what those include, is life skills, job training, youth programs, tutoring, food distribution, nonprofit staff training, and back-to-school backpacks with supplies is some of those major components. We've had a lot of requests from city departments also and nonprofits this year for the general service funding, and there wasn't enough money to fund all of those either, and most were not funded for what they requested, but for what, we felt that could be allocated. So each year we try to ensure that we dedicate some funds for sidewalks to ensure we continue ADA accessibility in our LMI areas. And of course, tree planting and community gardens. We try to allocate a little money for that each year. This proposed plan funds habitat housing repairs at $50,000, which will assist at least 2 houses and perhaps more depending on what the scope of work is at each house. If houses just needed roof repairs, then you'd be able to do more than just 2 houses. The Literacy Council funding is for facility improvements on their building, and Southwest Center needed chair racks, and the Health Department's proposed funding is to upgrade their public restrooms to ADA compliant facilities. Inspections proposed funding covers 1/2 of a code enforcement officer's salary to work in our LMI areas, and the other is for demolition activities. And staff feels that the proposed CDBG plan represents the most effective use of the available CDBG funds to address the city's identified priority community development needs. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer those.
Any questions for Daphne? Ms. Matlock?
Homes that are already been built through the years that you're going to, how do you determine?
That is repairs, so it is for individuals who own the home, and it needs some repairs.
Okay, so it's not, are these Habitat for Humanity homes that's already been built within the city, or is it homes that people have that they can do it under Habitat for
It's
Humanity?
homes people have that they can do it under Habitat for Humanity.
Okay.
There could be a Habitat home that was built years ago. They wouldn't be restricted, but it's mainly, there haven't been that many Habitat homes built in Texarkana from the ground up. So probably 99% of these would be individuals who own a home.
Any other questions for Daphne? Okay, thank you. Appreciate the information. Is there a motion for approval of the resolution? We have a motion by Councilmember Hart and a second by Councilmember Page. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The resolution passes. Pardon me? Oh, we're at first briefing. Okay, I apologize. I just jumped. I'm so excited about this. I just wanted to jump ahead and get it taken care of. Okay, so just retract all that I just on the motion in the second, and we'll revisit this next month, okay? All right. Thank you for the city attorney to be there to help bail me out. So, city secretary as well. That's true. Thank you, Ms. Evans. I know. She should be. All right. At this time, we'll go along to our public hearings. We do have several public hearings scheduled this evening. Item number 1 is ordinance number 2026-093, approving a real estate exchange agreement with Texas A&M University System for property near Bringle Lake, city property commonly referred to as the Golf Ranch, approximately 249.866 acres, located in the Jarrett Janes Headright Survey, agreed fair market value of $2.5 million in exchange for university-owned non-floodplain vacant real property suitable for residential development between Clear Creek and the west edge of the Oakwood subdivision approximately 138.788 acres in the J.W. Fort Headright Survey, agreed fair market value of $2.5 million, and approving liquidation of leasehold interest and termination of the lease agreement with Texarkana Golf Ranch LLC for the Golf Ranch leasehold, appraised value of $1.23 million. At this time, I declare the public hearing open on this item. If anyone would like to address the council, if you'll please come forward and state your name for the record. Not seeing anyone coming forward at this time, I will declare the public hearing closed. Is there a motion for approval of the ordinance?
So moved. Mayor, there will be one abstention, and that is going to be me.
Okay, would the record hold that Councilmember Davis is abstaining from voting on this item? So, Councilmember Metter, you made a motion.
Sir.
Is there a second to the motion? Okay, Ms. Matlock has seconded the motion. And Ms. Evans, the caption, please.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Texarkana, Texas, approving a real estate exchange agreement with the Texas A&M University System for property near Bringle Lake, city property commonly referred to as the Golf Ranch, approximately 249.866 acres, located in the Jarrett Janes HRS, agreed fair market value of $2.5 million in exchange for university-owned non-flood plain vacant real property suitable for residential development between Clear Creek and the west edge of the Oakwood subdivision, approximately 138.788 acres in the J.W. Fort HRS, agreed fair market value of $2.5 million, approving liquidation of leasehold interest and termination of lease agreement with Texarkana Golf Ranch LLC for the Golf Ranch leasehold, appraised value of $1.23 million, containing a repealer clause containing legislative findings and establishing an effective date.
And since Councilmember Davis is abstaining on this vote, I will be voting on this matter. So we have a motion and a second. We've had the caption read. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Councilmember Davis, you'll abstain.
I will abstain.
Okay, all right, very good. All right. We also have in the audience Dr. Ross Alexander, the president of Texas A&M University. Dr. Alexander, thank you for taking time to be with us this evening to our meeting. This time, move along to item number 2, ordinance number 2026-097, rezoning an approximate 7.497 acre tract of land being tract 98B, M.H. Janes Headright Survey A-305, located at 8,000 Hampton Road in Ward 5, from Single Family 2 to Industrial 2. Gary Henderson, Metal Max LLC owner. At this time, I declare the public hearing open on this item. If anyone would like to address the council, please come forward. Not see anyone coming forward at this time, I declare the public hearing closed. Is there a motion for approval of the ordinance?
So moved.
We have a motion by Councilmember Metter and a second by Councilmember Davis. Ms. Evans, the caption, please.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Texarkana, Texas, amending the zoning ordinance of the City of Texarkana, Texas, by rezoning on an approximate 7.497 acre tract of land, being tract 98B, M.H. Janes HRS A-305, located at 8,000 Hampton Road in the city of Texarkana, Bowie County, Texas, from Single Family 2 to Industrial 2, containing a repealer clause, containing a severability clause, and establishing an effective date.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ordinance passes. Item number 3 is ordinance number 2026-098, rezoning an approximate 1.18 acre tract of land, being tract 7A, City Improvement Company Annex, GPM store number LB22, located at 4102 West 7th Street in Ward 2, from Single Family 2 to Industrial 1. Mark Wilson, Senior Vice President or SVP owner, and Michael Scarborough, agent. At this time, I declare the public hearing open on this item. If anyone would like to address the council, please come forward and state your name for the record. At this time, I declare the public hearing closed. Is there a motion for approval? We have a motion by Councilmember Hart and a second by Councilmember Page. Ms. Evans, the caption, please.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Texarkana, Texas, amending the zoning ordinance of the City of Texarkana, Texas, by rezoning on an approximate 1.1 acre tract of land being Tract 7A, City Improvement Company Annex, GPM Store, number LB 22, located at 4102 West 7th Street in the city of Texarkana, Bowie County, Texas, from Single Family 2 to Industrial 1, containing a repealer clause, containing a severability clause, and establishing an effective date.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ordinance passes. Item number 4 is ordinance number 2026-099, rezoning lots 9 and 10, Block 19, West Texarkana, located at 2308 West 11th Street in Ward 2, from Single Family 2 to Single Family 3, Tiffany Holt, owner. At this time, I declare the public hearing open on this item. If anyone would like to address the council, please come forward. Pardon me, ma'am? Okay, did you want to state anything or say anything to the council? Okay. Okay, so the public hearing is still open. If anyone else would like to address the council, please come forward. At this time, I declare the public hearing closed. Is there a motion for approval of the ordinance? We have a motion by Councilmember Hart and a second by Councilmember Matlock. Ms. Evans, the caption, please.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Texarkana, Texas, amending the zoning ordinance of the City of Texarkana, Texas, by rezoning on lots 9 and 10, Block 19, West Texarkana, located at 2308 West 11th Street in the City of Texarkana, Bowie County, Texas, from Single Family 2 to Single Family 3, containing a repealer clause, containing a severability clause, and establishing an effective date.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ordinance passes. We'll now continue with the specific use permit pertaining to the same location. Item number 5 is ordinance number 2026-100, granting a specific use permit to allow the location of a HUD code manufactured home on lots 9 and 10, Block 19, West Texarkana, located at 2308 West 11th Street in Ward 2, Tiffany Holt, owner. At this time, I declare the public hearing open on this item. If anyone would like to address the council, please come forward. At this time, I declare the public hearing closed. Is there a motion for approval? We have a motion by Councilmember Hart. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Page. Ms. Evans, the caption.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Texarkana, Texas, amending the zoning map showing the location, boundary, and use of certain property by the granting specific use permit number S-830 for the location of a HUD code manufactured home on lots 9 and 10, Block 19, West Texarkana, located at 2308 West 11th Street in the City of Texarkana, Bowie County, Texas, containing a repealer clause, containing a severability clause, and establishing an effective date.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ordinance passes unanimously. Ms. Holt, best of luck to you. All right. At this time, move along to item number 6, ordinance number 2026-101, rezoning on part of lots 1 through 7, all of 8 through 14, part of 5 and 6, Cowtown Materials Incorporated, an approximate 1.7 acre tract of land being Tract 3-4, Kraus 1, TXKA, located at 1521 Beaumont Street in Ward 1, from Single Family 2 to Industrial 2, Robert Torrens, owner, Vance Lyles, MTG Engineers and Surveyors, agent. At this time, I declare the public hearing open on this item. If anyone would like to address the council, please come forward. At this time, I declare the public hearing closed. Is there a motion for approval of the ordinance? We have a motion by Councilmember Matlock. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Davis. Ms. Evans, the caption, please.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Texarkana, Texas, amending the zoning ordinance of the City of Texarkana, Texas, by rezoning on part of lots 1 through 7, all of 8 through 14, part of 5 and 6, Cowtown Materials, Inc., on an approximate 1.87 acre tract of land being Tract 3-4 Kraus First, TXKA, located at 1521 Beaumont Street in the city of Texarkana, Bowie County, Texas, from single family 2 to industrial 2, containing a repealer clause, containing a severability clause, and establishing an effective date.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ordinance passes. Item number 7 is ordinance number 2026-102, rezoning on a 1.18 acre tract of land, Jacob Karsner Headright Survey A-116, located at 1015 South Lilia Street in Ward 1, from agriculture to industrial 2. Robert Torrens, owner, Vance Lyles, MTG Engineers and Surveyors Agent. At this time, I declare the public hearing open on this item. If anyone would like to address the council, please come forward. At this time, I declare the public hearing closed. Is there a motion for approval? We have a motion by Councilmember Matlock. Is there a second? Second by Councilmember Hart. Ms. Evans, the caption.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Texarkana, Texas, amending the zoning ordinance of the City of Texarkana, Texas, by rezoning on a 1.18 acre tract of land, Jacob Karsner HRS A-116, located at 1015 South Lilia Street in the city of Texarkana, Bowie County, Texas, from agriculture to industrial 2, containing a repealer clause, containing a severability clause, and establishing an effective date.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ordinance passes. This concludes our public hearings portion of the agenda. We'll now move along to the city manager's report. Dr. Orr?
Good evening again, Mayor and Council. So just a few updates to pass along to you tonight. First off, we have some information from our second quarter economic development report is now available. The report highlights the continued progress in a variety of initiatives for economic development across the city. It includes business announcements, commercial and residential development activity, project recruitment efforts, sales tax, and a number of other initiatives. A key highlight from this report is the City Council's approval of the resolution that supported the opportunity zones and for the census tracts that were eligible in Texarkana, and that information was submitted to the governor's office recently. So for more information, the public can visit texarkanatexas.gov/economic development. Also, just wanted to make you aware that we have a water and sewer bond issuance that we'll be proposing at the next meeting. This dates back to when the council approved the 10-year water rate plan back in September 26th of 2022. That plan anticipated a second $20 million issuance in FY28. And so since this summer's earlier budget advisory meetings, staff has identified additional water and sewer infrastructure projects that need to be prioritized or pushed up. And so as a result, we're going to present that second revenue bond issuance for consideration August 10th to go along with this budget cycle. However, the debt service and the payments will still take place in FY28. So they'll take place as planned, but it's moving up the project list for 1 year and issuing that bond issuance a year early. And then finally, just wanted to recognize our GIS team. So that's the Geographic Information Systems team at TWU. They've launched a new public information campaign to promote the city's free online mapping tools. That's at texarkanamaps.com. The campaign includes outreach and posters in city facilities where the public can find property information, zoning, parks, trails, voting districts, trash routes, and much more. Additionally, our GIS team has been nationally recognized by Esri. Esri is the world's leading GIS software provider, and they have an industry blog out that's highlighting our GIS team's modernization efforts. And so just congrats to our team. I also have a link to the blog on the screen. And then one other item that's not on our screen, we have a number of interns that we host every year here at the city, and we have 8 interns throughout the city in different various departments. And we always sort of think about this to recognize them in August. Of course, in August, they're already back to school. So I remember this year to recognize them in July. So we have 2 with us, if they're still with us in the back. I want to recognize Anna Bias. Anna is with our finance department, and she works with Kristen and her team, and she is attending Stephen F. Austin University. And then Derek Murphy. Derek, You can wave or say hello as well.
Yeah, y'all, both of y'all
Both y'all
stand up. Stand up to be recognized, yeah.
Derek is with the city manager's office, and Derek is a Texas A&M graduate from College Station with us. So I knew I'd get at least one whoop out of the crowd, so from reading. So anyways, just want to congratulate them. Well, we appreciate all our interns this year. We do a number of projects, capstone projects we call them, with our interns throughout the city. We couldn't do that work without them, so we're excited to have their capstone projects wrap up in the next couple of weeks, and some of that information we'll be presenting to council and to other committees throughout the city. So that's all.
Okay, all right, thank you, David. We'll now move along to administrative comments. Any comments from the council this evening? Mr. Davis?
I just want to ditto the thanks for all of the efforts for the air show. My wife and I were able to attend and were absolutely blown away with the number of vendors that were there, and was very thankful for the breeze that came through that day, because it was extremely hot. But definitely appreciate the time and effort that was put on by all for that event.
Okay, very good. Okay. Anybody have anything else? David, I got one thing, and I'm not sure, this may certainly maybe get the chief involved, but I don't know, with my travels around the city, I've noticed recently it's just really kind of an epidemic with the motoring public rolling through and running stop signs and rolling through red lights. It's very troublesome, because it doesn't matter the time of day, the part of the city I'm in, it's just everywhere. A week or two ago, I was driving to work. I was on Summerhill Road, approaching Moore's Lane, and there was a guy driving a red Silverado pickup truck in the inside lane. I was a distance behind him in the outside lane. The traffic signal turned yellow. He was about 150 feet from the intersection. It turned red. He rolled right through the intersection and never tapped his brake lights. And I called him an idiot. I think I added a few more words to that. But anyway, it's very concerning. And I don't know, council, you all may have noticed the same thing out in your travels. And so, maybe if the motoring public, sees an officer on a traffic stop, maybe that will send a signal to them. But, our police department does an incredible job with their duties each and every day. But, it hit home a week or so ago. My daughter and family got hit in an intersection by someone who ran a red light. And so anyway, I'm just concerned about the motoring public, and we could maybe look into that. So I'd appreciate it.
Certainly, Mayor. We'll make note of that and talk with PD about some efforts that we can do to hopefully curtail that activity.
Okay, very good. If you need some intersections and times of day, I'll be glad to provide that information as well. So. Oh, okay, yeah. Always use your directional signals, so that's important too. Thank you for your input, Councilmember Page. All right, so, okay, any other comments from the council? And I appreciate Councilmember Davis's comments once again about the air show. It was very, very incredible, and really, really enjoyed the great work put forth with that. Any final comments from city staff?
No further comments, Mayor.
Okay, very good. If there's not any further business to be brought before the council, I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
We have a motion by Councilmember Page. Is there a second? Second. A second by Councilmember Thompson. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. We are adjourned. Thank you all for being here. Hope you have a great evening.